Hey there, you guys. Welcome back. Today we're going to be, I don't know what this is called, transplanting, dividing, playing around with this Sarracenia bog garden. What do I have in here? I have Sarracenia Sand Mountain, I have Tarnock, and I have Purporia, and maybe, just maybe, I might have a Venus flytrap. I was trying to find it in here, and it didn't look so good last year. I think it got drowned out by these Sarracenias. So I might try another one another year. If we'll see where it was, and maybe there's a corm or something in there, a bulb that we can save and transplant. But I'm going to be moving these plants into individual pots so I can display them individually in the same general area, and I think that would look really, really nice. They're starting to get big. They're starting to overpower each other. And they're looking messy. So I wanted to space them out and give them a little bit of their own place. So what I did with these pots is, these are just dollar store plastic pots. You really want to go with a plastic pot. The drainage holes were pretty well covered, but it was like a very, very thin layer. Like there's supposed to be holes in the bottom of this, but I ended up putting some hot glue in there. Hopefully it works at sealing the holes. You don't want holes in the bottom of your pot, and if you do, that's okay. You want to have a nice deep reservoir, a water tray underneath, so you can keep an ample supply of water for these guys any time of the year. So what I'm going to do with this, because I covered up the drainage holes here, I'm going to use my soldering iron to poke holes in the base here, and then I'm going to do another one up here a couple of inches from the top of the pot. So the reason why I'm going to do two separate holes for drainage is the one in the bottom is going to be for the winter time when it wants to be a little bit less soaking wet. I can uncover the hole and it will drain the pot more. And then the one in the top, when things are actively growing, they want to be really in a marshy situation. So I will cover up the bottom hole with some, I don't know, some duct tape or some sort of a tape, and leave the top one covered, and it will let the water fill up even higher in the pot. So I got that tip from Brad's Greenhouses. If you haven't seen his YouTube channel, I do recommend it. He's really, really great with carnivorous plants. He also sells carnivorous plants and other things if you're within Canada. And that's actually where I got these plants from a number of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. So I'm just waiting for my soldering iron to heat up. I forgot to turn it on because it's early morning. And so I smell it. It shouldn't be long. So we'll poke some holes in that. You'll see here, ooh, let me turn on the ring light. I actually forgot to do that. This plant, we're going to come down. We're going to look at it a little bit better. At a better angle, and we're going to start digging it out. Okay, so the soil that we're using, this is just plain old peat moss, nothing added. There's no fertilizer in this. It's just plain old peat moss. You want to be careful when you're buying peat moss. You want to make sure that there's no added fertilizers or compost or anything. You just want to make sure that it's good old, plain old peat moss. And then for some drainage, because this will get really, really muddy and icky, I'm going to add some perlite to this. And you want to kind of do a 50-50 mix, 50-50 peat moss to perlite. I don't know, this is not going to be a complete 50-50 mix. I'm just going to add a whole bag. Now we'll just mix this up nice and thoroughly. It's so relaxing. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We're pretty well mixed. I was trying to break up some of the bigger clumps with my fingers as I was going through. And yes, we'll move this off to the side. I think that my soldering iron is heated up enough. If you don't have a soldering iron, you can use a drill. It's just a little easier with a soldering iron. Just going to poke it through here, make it a nice size hole. We got a hole in the top and the bottom. So there we go. I'm going to do this a couple more times. It's It's best to do this kind of outside because there's a lot of smoke involved. I'm in the garage, as you probably can tell. Making these nice size holes so the water can escape. Again, a couple of inches from the bottom and a couple of inches from the top. If you have drainage holes in the bottom of your pot, you don't need to do this because it's going to drain out the bottom anyway. So I just bought these pots from the dollar store. Here we go. So that is done. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is remove this flower spike. I don't know. I'm going to be very, very careful with this one and keep it upright because I'm not sure if there's any seeds in there. I don't know whether you're not able to see any of that. So I'm just going to put this off to the side and maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to start some seeds from that. I've already started the seedlings from the Sarracenia Purporia, which is looking beautiful, by the way. I don't know whether you're able to see that. I'm going to remove these little spikes because they're just going to get in the way. These Sarracenias can get tall, and if you're in a windy environment, they get whipped around. So I had a bunch of stakes to try to hold them in place. That didn't really help all that much. So then I'm going to go around any of the pitchers that are legit dead. Just going to go ahead and remove those just to clean things up a bit. If they're not completely brown, you can remove some of the dead parts, but leave anything that's green. I'm not an expert at this, but in the videos that I've watched in the past, they say, oh yeah, and you're supposed to do this when it's dormant. So it's not actively growing. And what is it now? It is February 2nd. Today's Groundhog's Day. Oh, that's exciting. So when you're watching this, it will be past, but hopefully we'll have an early spring. Good luck. It's always 6 more weeks of winter. So what people say is that if you remove all of the growth, like it's supposed to be dormant, but if you remove all of the green growth, just to make it easier for yourself, I guess it slows the plant down and it's smaller the first year. If you leave some of the growth intact, it comes back a little bit stronger. I don't know because I've never done this, but I'm just going by what other people have said. It'll be interesting to see. Maybe one day I will do an experiment where I cut it right back because that would be so much easier versus keeping it like I'm going to do this time. It certainly is cleaning it up. I usually do this in the spring after the growth starts because you'll find that some of these pitchers will start to die back even more when the new growth starts. Oh, it looks so much better. These are old flower spikes from the tarnock. The tarnock has a really weird flower. So we'll come back once I have all of this stuff cut back. Okay, so I got everything cleaned off as much as I could or felt the need to. So now I'm just going to go in with my garden trowel and I'm going to get in there relatively close to the plants. They usually don't have a very substantial root system. I'm trying to... You'll see a little bit better maybe on the next one. There's another stake in there. You'll probably see better with the next plant after I get things cleaned out a bit. I'm just going to remove all these plants and then we will try to divide them if needed. There we go. So this is the first one. I believe this one is Sand Mountain. Look at the beautiful growths in there. I hope you're able to see that. Like, look at the color in there. I'm going to try to keep a few together, like maybe 3 or 4 at least in each grouping. And I'm going to divide a couple out and give some to friends. Yeah. Over here, you're probably not able to see, but I did see some Drosera capensis babies growing. So I might put this on the top of some pots. So I'm just going to take that handful of soil out. I'm not going to get everything because that's crazy. But we'll do our best to get what we can. And now this guy here, the Purporia, he's so wide. Again, I'm just going to get in there as good as I can. Moving his pitchers out of the way. The Purporia is an interesting one where the pitchers are open for the rain to get in. Let me see if I can get him out here. There we go. Nice little root system. I'm dripping all over everything. They're all so full of water. It's such a beautiful plant. This is actually nicer than it was last year at this time. Last year it died back pretty well. So we'll just put that here. And then where did I have? This is where the Venus flytrap was. Let's see if there's anything in here. It's still in this little sphagnum moss. I don't think it's alive. It was struggling last year. I should have repotted it. No, it's just weeds. Put that off to the side because I might reuse some of this soil depending on if I need more for my pots. That's the Venus flytrap tag. And last but not least, we've got the tarnock. I hear some roots breaking. I think that's probably why you do it when it's dormant. It tolerates it better. It's going to put out all kinds of new root growth when it starts to grow in the spring. Just going to grow it. I remove some of the soil. One thing that I didn't do when I planted this originally a few years ago was I didn't use perlite when I planted it. So perlite isn't 100% necessary. I did add some chunky perlite to the top after I realized that, oh, there should be perlite in there. But down farther, in the pot, there's really not any perlite. So the soil really smells nice. It's been in here for a few years and it's been kind of in a boggy situation and there's no smell of rot. So that's really, really good. You'll see here, hopefully I was on camera. We've got some beautiful growths here. The rhizomes are looking good. And I've got some flowers starting to be developed. I don't know whether you're able to see here, but by this finger here, there's a little nubbin starting to grow, and that will be a flower spike. Hopefully in repotting this, it's not going to sacrifice the bloom. So this is the tarnock. We're going to get rid of this. Oh my gosh, it's so heavy because it's so wet. Bring in our first pot, fill it up maybe halfway with soil. And which one will we do first? Let's do the tarnock. The tarnock is so beautiful. I don't know whether you're able to see. I'll see if I have any photos from the summertime, but you can kind of see here. It's so beautiful and white and green with kind of a pinky marking. It's so beautiful. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to see if I can divide any of these out. Here's the little label that's lasted over the time. Leucophila tarnock. Sarracenia leucophila tarnock. Leave that off to the side here. I'm going to see if I can break a natural division. Don't want to get too aggressive. I want to... These two are coming off pretty good. There we go. Here's another one. There we go. This might help. I got some light. Trying to break these apart here. Here's another nice little clump. Let's see how many rhizomes are in this one, or growth points. This one has 2 for sure. I have 1 growth point here, 1 here with a flower bud starting to be produced. As you can see right in there. And that's a nice little clump. And then let's see if we can get 1 more out of this. I don't see any other flowers being produced. Trying to be as careful as I can. There we go. You see a bunch of dead in here. Let's, I wasn't able to get this when I did it originally because it was all packed in. But let's clean it up. Such beautiful, beautiful plants. So in this pot, I'm going to just put 2 of the clumps, and I'm going to backfill it, and I'm going to put these guys in little maybe 6-inch pots and have them either for a plant sale in the spring or I'll give away to friends. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but yes. So this is going to be a perfect little pot, and I need a scoop for my soil. Actually, I've got a scoop right here. What am I talking about? So when you're planting these back into the pot, you want to maintain the soil level. So let me put this back. So since this was where the soil level was, that's where you want to maintain the soil level. You don't want to go deeper, you don't want to go shallower. So that is the goal for this mission. I wish I could bring the camera down closer, but that's as close as the tripod will let me go. All right, so we'll add a little soil. We'll position, and we'll go the other way. Pack it in a little bit. I want to space them out just a tiny bit. I don't want them to be sitting on top of one another. I want them to be able to grow for a couple of years. Move this around. There you go. I might have to put some stakes in, but we'll see how it goes, just to hold them in place so they don't rock and roll around in the pot. A little bit more soil. Again, watching the soil level, if you need to raise them up a little bit to be above the soil line, then that's what you got to do. Remember that we've got the other hole there for drainage, so you want to make sure that the soil level is above that hole, because you don't want, when you fill it with water, you don't want the highest amount of water to be over top of the crown of the plant. The plant likes a lot of water, but it doesn't want its crown to be covered. And the crown is where the growth is all coming from. If we're looking at it here, I would not have the water come up past this spot here. So this one is looking beautiful. I might need to add more soil to it later after we add water to it. I'm going to be adding distilled water to this right after I finish transplanting. So we'll move this off to the side. I'm not going to do these guys here just yet. I will do those later on. Fill this second pot with soil. This one is going to be the Sand Mountain. Oh, there's a nice big one that needs to get cut off. So this one is at varying depths. This one didn't know how it was growing. So as you can see, this growth point is growing really, really far down in the soil. That one I would raise up just a little bit. So let's see where we can break this. This one's going to be harder. I don't know why this one was growing the way that it was. It's going to be hard for some people because you will hear snapping. It's hard for me because I'm at a distance. I'm trying to get things in frame. There we go. There's the first one. We'll remove some of this dead stuff that was hiding out in the center. It'll be a nice little cutting. We got a couple of growth points in here. We're going to want to make sure that this is where the soil level is on this guy. You can tell because it's white where the stuff was under the soil. So there's the first one. Let's see if we can get at least one more out of this. Now, since we did the first one, it feels like they're breaking apart easier. There we go. This one's not looking so bad. There's a few bits of brown. Let's remove those. All right. There's another one. Can this be divided anymore? It's hard to tell. See if I can get one more out of it. Ugh. Gritting my teeth. You could always use a knife to cut. I prefer the breaking. Okay. No, I don't think this is going to come apart. This will be the main one that I keep in this pot. I really wish I could break that apart a little bit more. This is going to be a tough one because, as you can see, the levels here. This is a soil level, and this one is growing really, really far down. I'm going to remove this. There was a lot of snapping. It doesn't want to come off, but it has to. I want to pot it up correctly. There we go. Okay, so now we've got a nice division here. This one, I don't know. This one's going to be really hard, but I can always maintain the same soil level. I can plant it up to here. It's naturally doing that itself, so it wouldn't be wrong. So I'm going to keep these two. I'm going to get the soil. I don't know why I yelled. I'll get another to go behind. I'm just going to space them out nicely. Again, you want to remember where the soil is on the for the drainage hole that you put in the side, and you want to maintain that soil level. That's the biggest thing for this. You don't want to go too deep, but you don't want to go too shallow either. There we go. When I'm shaking it, I'm kind of lifting a bit. And then pressing them in. As you can see, we've got, there's soil stuck to it. That's going to come off with a little bit of water. And as you can see, we look pretty good in there. And yeah, we'll move on to the next one. The next one should be really, really messy. So what's this one look like? Look at all the water. It's so gross. These guys are a little harder to divide because they are rosette former. And they kind of grow out from the center. But let's remove some of these old ones that I wasn't able to see. All this brown icky growth that's died off. After I'm done here, I'll probably put some water in the pitchers. Maybe not right away, maybe in a week or so. It's really not necessary because it's not really catching any bugs. It's cold in the garage. But I'll put some distilled water in here. Okay, as I'm going around this, pulling off all the dead ones, I'm looking to see if there's any growth points where I can divide it. I'm not seeing anything, to be honest. Oh, there might be a little bit in there. Another tag. The tags that Brad gave with these plants, they're really, really good. They were a little small, but they've lasted in the pot. That's for sure. They look exactly the same as when I got them. This is the Sarracenia Purporia. Still looks great. Thanks, Brad. If you're watching this, I don't think you are. Got a lot of stuff going on. It's spring, preparing for the sales season. All right. Let's see here. Let's see if we can just rip it down the middle. If not, I've got some babies growing from seeds, so that I don't even need to divide this. You know what? I'm just going to leave this as it is. I've cleaned it up at the bottom and it looks good. The plant is beautiful. I don't want to risk breaking this. Maybe the next time I transplant it, I'll have more to work with, but I don't think that it's necessary to divide this out. So yeah, let's just pot this up in its own planter. This one's going to be difficult as well because it's so wide. It takes up the whole planter. So getting soil in here is going to be a piece of work. Same thing, you want to maintain the soil level. It's going to be really hard for you to see. I'm just going in, shake it around. You want to make sure that that root system is covered with soil. Oh my gosh, so much. Okay, moving things around. In a second, I'm going to get in there with my hands. I want to feel where the crown of the plant is. I want to make sure that it has good contact with the soil. I don't know that you're able to see anything. You're just going to have to go with my thoughts. Send some prayers. I need to add a little bit more soil to the sides. Actually, before I do this side, I want to hold that in or push that in. I think for watering these in, I'm going to maybe take them downstairs to the wash tub in the laundry room, and so that I can soak the water to it, the distilled water. Actually, no, I'll do it on camera here. I'll be right back with some water. Okay, so we're back with the water. Just going to give it a good drink. I'm using distilled water, and hopefully they enjoy it. Ah, yes. And I have these little Drosera capensis. I'm just going to add this to the top of the soil here. Maybe those seedlings will take. Put some over here too. There we go. Add a little bit more water. Water those in. Hopefully they survive. They're not hardy to our winters here, but they've survived in the garage. They die right back, but they come back from roots. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video, whatever this was. Don't be afraid to transplant or divide or whatever your Sarracenias. It's an easier task than it sounds. And as long as you're using soil that has no nutrient value, you should be safe. They don't want salts, they don't want fertilizers. So yes, just be careful in that sense. Other than that, super easy. And yeah, fingers crossed, they grow beautifully. I can't wait to do a little display with them in the coming year. And yeah, stay tuned for updates on these. So until next time, you guys, happy growing. Oh, I can't wait to see what you do this spring. Oh, this is going to be so pretty.